let's get it done. Clicks and reviews, we're number one. Reputation's key, we'll show you how. AI's the future, the time is now.
Welcome to Google for Real Estate for the second time. If you were here live, you know what I'm talking about. I'm Derek Bixler, real estate agent, outdoor adventure sportsman, volunteer firefighter, and local SEO and AI geek, mainly Gemini. Let's get into it. Not a ton of stuff to talk about, a few things, but I can fill it up. First thing that I talked about already, but you wouldn't know that unless you were here live. First thing I have on my list here is Genie 3 by Google. Google dropped their Genie 3 model, which is essentially prompt to worlds. So you can go there, and this is only available to Google AI Ultra subscribers. That's their like $200 a month. I do not pay for that, do not have access to that. But you can basically go there and give it an image, and then it will create a world out of that image that you can then walk around in, or you can just prompt it and say, like, I want a candy land with trees of ice cream and clouds of cotton candy and a chocolate river, and I want the subject, the character, because you can see the subject right there. You can create whatever that's going to be, and then you can walk around in it. You can't like really create a game per se or do actions or like kill things or whatever yet, but I'm sure that's on the way. And this is just a step towards everything you watch or play, video games, movies on Netflix. It'll all be created on the fly in real time for you, watching your eye movements, how much you're paying attention, which part you like. Do we need to ramp up the excitement because Derek's falling asleep or he's not paying attention or something? We need to insert more jokes, more laughs per minute because Derek likes more laughs per minute. It'll probably be different if you watch something multiple times, possibly, which could make it fun, but also not fun if you like watching things over again. Like I like watching Seinfeld over and over and over again, and I don't want it to be different. I want the one that I saw before. So hopefully there's also settings to and kind of things that are static. But Genie 3 is kind of another step towards that, and the ability to just create literally pixel for pixel on the fly in real time while you're doing things. And the internet is going that way also. Google has a model that will, I forget what it's called, and I don't have access to that either. I don't know if anybody does. That might just be them talking about it at this point. But it basically creates a whole browser kind of internet interface on the fly for you based on whatever you're doing and your tendencies and all these things. But anyway, Genie 3 by Google, if you want to watch YouTube videos or fall down that rabbit hole. Really, it's just... it'll create a world. Really, it's crazy that I'm saying, really, it's just, all it is like what seems, and my kids are unimpressed by any of this stuff. But it makes sense because, of course, computers could do that. Why wouldn't it be able to do that? But if you're of our age, or my age at least, it's amazing. You could never do that back in the day. And I think it's even more amazing to people who code and know this stuff, because they're the ones that know how much work it really actually takes to make all those things work and function, and to have it just happen on the fly from a sentence I typed in and a picture I uploaded. Pretty bonkers. So Genie 3, if you want to fall down that rabbit hole, a lot of people are talking about that. Suspensions have, I was going to say increased, but I don't think they've increased. I think I just got an influx of people because of a Facebook post I was tagged in, and then a bunch of people were like, I need help. So I had 3 suspension calls this week, which in itself is not too alarming. I can deal with it. I know how to fix it. But the bad part is they had all 3 already appealed it once and failed. So the best practice for if you are suspended, and this would go for verifications too, they're pretty much the same process, the same stuff you need to give Google, other than verification is a video at first. But if you get to the form, it's pretty much the same as a suspension. But in any case, whether you're doing verification or suspension, you first need to go into your settings, the edit profile tab, which is really the only tab you'll have access to if you're suspended. And you need to go through all those settings and make sure they are all compliant with Google and provable with all your documentation, and all the things match all your stuff. the name, location, phone number being the biggest ones, but other stuff needs to match as much as possible. So the settings need to be gone through with a fine-tooth comb and make sure they are all compliant and provable. Then you need to make a list of all your proof that you are compiling to give Google. If you're doing the video verification, you're showing all these things. You're still compiling documents and things and showing it in the video. If you're doing the form for verification, or if you're doing the suspension, which is the form, you're going to want to upload images of what you would have shown in the video. You want to upload pictures of the exterior, make sure the sign is visible clearly to an AI scanning the image, make sure the number on the mailbox or on the building or whatever is clearly visible, the suite number, take a picture of the interior, take a picture of the workspace, make sure there are marketing materials, pictures of the marketing materials, all these things. You want to overkill when you're doing it so that you don't fail it, because the problem with the suspension, especially verification, you don't want to fail it too many times. You have a couple tries at that, then you go to the form, you fail the form, they might give you a couple tries at that, and then you're going to start getting suspended probably. But if you get the email that says you have been suspended, do not click the appeal button. Once you click the appeal button, and it's probably a couple clicks from there to get to the actual form, you have a 60-minute time clock to fill out that form. And most people get it and they're just clicking down the thing. What do I have to do? Now you're in there and have to do it. And you didn't take all these pictures properly that you were supposed to have, or have them in the folders all structured the proper way to upload. You didn't go through your settings. And even if you did, you probably don't know, like someone like me or whatever knows. So you really want to, if you're suspended, stop. Do not click the appeal button, because you're going to do it wrong. And then if you do it wrong, you only have one more shot at it. You only have one suspension appeal, but you do have one request additional review of suspension appeal. So, and then if you fail that, you're pretty much out of luck, other than the community, and getting something to happen in the community is pretty tough. So you really, 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 really want to make sure you take the time and do everything right. And I'm not going to go through every single item and everything, but the point I want to make mostly is do not click that appeal button and start it. You need to either talk to a professional, or at least minimally watch a bunch of YouTube videos to try to figure out what you need to do. They're not going to tell you what's wrong. I mean, they kind of do now a little bit, especially on the verification side, but just because they give you a reason doesn't mean it is the reason. I've seen it being wrong. I've also seen it that it is not the only reason. They're not going to tell you every reason. There could be something that you're missing. So you need to really know what you're looking at and do it properly, and overkill with proof. One hack I will tell everybody, and this applies to any of their forms that you're filling out for them, if they give you a place to upload a file, you might see they only have one slot or two slots to upload a file, but I have 20 pictures and a PDF and blah, blah, blah to give them. What you need to do is zip them, and then a zip folder is one file. So the way I do it is I upload my docs up to Google Drive into a folder called blah, 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 and then I download that folder. Now I have a zip folder on my computer with all those documents in it, and now I can give them more documents than just the one or two slots they give me. So you want to overkill with documentation. I usually, when I'm working with people, I give them a long list of stuff to give me. And then once I get all the stuff, I like to make it dummy proof, especially if it's AI looking at it. I title even the file name of each one exactly what it is. And I have a whole certain way I structure it. I then put them in the folders, very named, very plainly, and structured for AI to be dummy proof. And then if I get there and it turns out I have too much stuff, or they tend to change things, sometimes there's 2 slots with 20 megabytes each that you can upload. And then a week later, I'll go in and there's 3 slots of 10 megabytes each. Or then now they've gone down to 1 of 30 megabytes or whatever. So usually it's a couple with, 20 or 30 megabytes to give. But a lot of times on the fly, you have to kind of cut things out. But if you're overkilling, hopefully the things you're cutting out are things that you can do without anyway. So if you are suspended, do not click that appeal button until you know exactly what you're doing. You have all your proof ready to upload. It's going to ask you also for a bunch of information in the form and your Google Business Profile ID number and stuff. So just make sure you're ready to rock and roll and you know what you're walking into when you get that, or you will be out of luck. Even worse than you already are. Scheduled
Derek
action.
and Falcon.
Yeah.
Good morning, friends.
Morning.
What are the reasons why you would be suspended?
One could be inaction. You haven't been there for 2 years. You touched it, got a review or anything. So that's one thing. If it seems like you're gaming reviews or habitually doing something bad, they don't like that. If you made a change and they rejected it, sometimes you'll change your name or you'll change your description or something and it'll get rejected. And then the person will click edit and just be like, no, that's right. Give me my, do it. Just keep doing it. If you keep poking the beast, you could get suspended. People could report you. I don't have any proven cases of that. I think I have one maybe over the last few years that I suspected maybe could have been, because it was all fine as far as I just couldn't figure out any other reason other than maybe somebody got jealous and reported it for something. So somebody could report it, but that I don't think that rarely happens. Mostly it's settings or in posts. If you post an update and put phone numbers in your images or phone numbers in the descriptions of anything, you shouldn't be phone numbers, emails, contacts, any of that kind of stuff shouldn't be in any text anywhere. They got a button for the calls. They got a button for your website. They've got a button to message you. They call that phone stuffing. And they don't want that stuff in anything. So if you were posting updates, and they will send you an email if you post an update and it's rejected, it'll say your post was rejected. But sometimes people, like I said, they just, well, I'm going to do it again. Keep doing it. Why not? It should be fine. So you definitely, poking the beast is the main thing. Or if you fail verification too many times, so you change your address, which always triggers a re-verification. Then you fail the verification too many times, you fail the form, fail, then you might get moved to a suspension, which is a little bit harsher. The scale goes unverified, suspended, disabled. Disabled is basically the same as suspension, though, and it's the same form, same procedure. I hear people say it's worse, but I don't, from how it's structured, I think it's pretty much the same thing. So those are some reasons. Poking the beast, making changes you're not supposed to make. Does anybody else have any questions on suspensions? I was just kind of rushing on past that, but all right, hit me up if you need help with your suspension. It is my least favorite thing to do. No, it's not that bad. Only because it's your reviews hang in the balance, especially if you got a lot of them. If you have 3 reviews, not as big a deal to lose it. And then, I mean, you don't want to start a new profile because now you've got duplicate profiles technically, even though the one doesn't really exist. The computer on the back end might put it together any day. At some point 3 years from now, you got 50 reviews and it's like, oh wait, there's 2 of these and one of them is suspended still. And I know they marked it closed permanently, but it's still sitting there. I don't really like that for some reason. So I'm going to suspend the good one. And now you're dealing with problems. So you don't want duplicates either. But if it comes to that, you don't have a choice, or you just don't have a Google Business Profile. And people are successful doing it, but you all always have that hanging in the back of your head. Suspensions, scheduled actions of opals, ? Because I didn't quite figure it out. I think it can do it. I just haven't tested one or got it to do it yet. I think I actually have to build a new opal. I think I'm the only one that ever mentions opal, so you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. I do mention it in other rooms, but if you go to opal.google.com, you can create these drag and drop automations. Or you can just prompt it. Say, I want to make an automation to every Monday. I'm going to come here and you're going to ask me the date range, and then you're going to go deep research the date range. Then you're going to send it and write a blog article. Then you're going to make prompts. You can actually make images in there, blah, 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 do all these things. And then it gives you an output at the end that could go into your Google Drive, or it could be a website page, or it could be the images, or it could be a Word doc, or all kinds of things. So an opal is basically a super gem. You'll hear people refer to it as a super gem if you were to go into your Gemini. And forgive me, I don't test everything between free plans and paid plans, but if you have it, you would click gems, and then at the top, typically above the other regular gems that you would have seen before, which you can still make and do, you'll see gems made by labs, and then you can click new gem or click on one of the examples or whatever, and it'll take you to an interface right there in Gemini. But you really want to click Open Advanced Editor, which then takes you to opal.google.com. So that's why I keep saying you can access it from Google or from Gemini. It's kind of a gem, but to make it simple, you know how Notebook LM has its own place, so does Opal, so do these drag and drop automated things. So I've talked about them before. I've got them writing articles for me, almost perfected. What was the other one? There's all kinds of things you could do here. But the next step would be, so with these opals, with these automations, I still have to come here, and it kind of, after you build it, it appifies it. So I come here last week in Carlisle, I click start. It says, okay, what's the date range? I put the date range. Okay, what's the mine also asked me for the sales comps for the real estate section of the thing, because I am going to switch to it doing it, because that's actually I think that's the most consuming thing, which doesn't take a long time, but I just want this thing to boom like every Monday. Give me that article. And once I figure it out perfect, then obviously you could do it for other articles, other topics or whatever. But I click it, it asks me some questions, blah, blah, blah. And then it does all the things I told it to do and gives me my outputs that I asked it for. But I would still have to come here and click start and do the tasks and do whatever. So the next step that I was testing, and I believe it works, I haven't gotten it. I need to build a new opal that doesn't ask the user for anything. I think that'll be the best test for this first one. One that just needs it to click start at a certain time and then give me an output. So I need to build an opal that's a little bit simpler for the test. And then in regular Gemini, you can have scheduled actions. And I think this is only for paid ones. I could be wrong, but for sure paid plans have scheduled actions. You would click settings, and then you click scheduled actions, and then it would show you all of your scheduled actions. I have 0. Well, I do have a couple here that need deleted because I'm testing them. So you can set it up for it to do things for you depending on what it has access to. For sure, your email, calendar, all the stuff it has access to, it could do things in. If you click it, you will see there is no button to add a scheduled action. How you add a scheduled action is you just go into a regular chat, and I would say, okay, every Monday morning at 4 a.m., I want you to run the last week in Carlisle Opal automation, and then email the outputs to me. Or even if it didn't email them to me, I could just open my computer and the article, images, all the stuff ready to be pasted onto the website could be done. So you can definitely, I've talked to it and it has scheduled running opals, but it doesn't ask me which opal to run. So I don't trust that. What do you mean? I set it up for you. It'll work Monday, 4 a.m. It'll do it. Then I'm like, which one are you using? And what are we doing here? And it doesn't really give me a good answer. So I'm going to report back on that. But that's kind of the next step. The opal, you can build a workflow of a bunch of tasks that once you click start, maybe you have to give it a couple pieces of information. Then it goes off and does a bunch of things, whatever you tell it to do. And again, you can just prompt it. You don't have to drag and drop all the things and know how to even click the things. There's a prompt window where you just say, I want to make a thing that does this. and then you test it and say, well, that's not what I wanted. I wanted a picture at the end, and I wanted this and that, and it'll change all the things to do it until you get the right thing. But that automation kind of does part of it, but still requires some amount of interaction or coming here myself. So if I can make a scheduled action to do that, and then expand on scheduled actions to do other things. I will also add that scheduled actions does not mean that it's a computer use model. That's kind of what Claude Cowork and I think the Atlas browser could do things for you. But in general, a computer use model, and all of them kind of have it. Google's is not quite out yet. They have some that do random things or some things, but their full thing really isn't out to everybody yet. But that's why I'm not jumping on the bandwagon with all the other ones, because Google any second is going to have a computer use model that I can use right here. So a computer use model would be able to actually, like, it's almost right. It's computer use is what it says. It's kind of moving your mouse around and clicking on websites and clicking on things and doing whole workflows, not just like I can only access Gmail, Google Drive, and kind of have to have Zapier integrations for everything to work on the back end and APIs and talk to everything. And that's good too. But a computer use model, especially for people that's hard. A computer use model can do things like kind of like a loom, just record what I'm doing right now, and then you do that every Monday at 12 p.m. So that's kind of a computer use model. It can go around your computer, click, it can browse the internet, it can go things. If you have login information and stuff, it can log into sites and all the things. So scheduled actions that I was just talking about is not a computer use model, although it can do certain things for you. What's next? Opals. Notebook
Hey,
custom
Derek.
instruct. Yeah, go for it.
You got a question in the back channel here, asking what are some of the best things you can do for your Google business page that helps with AI search and visibility. And maybe he left. That was, I think, yeah, he might have left. That was Will. He did come up on stage, but I think he might have left.
Calling it out. You're the woman. I'm gonna have to make you
Sorry.
moderator every time.
Yeah, I don't know. No, maybe not. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to interrupt you, but
no, that's
just wanted
good.
to make you aware. Okay.
Yeah, I could answer it pretty quickly. Well, one comment he was asking about AI visibility. Any regular SEO stuff, traditional SEO practices, including any Google business profile stuff, also applies to AI. Now, AI like ChatGPT, non-Google stuff does have some trouble scraping, like a Google business profile, certain things in particular, because Google tries to block the other ones. This is our data, and we worked hard to build this database and all this stuff up, so it kind of tries to block things. But in general, and especially with websites, any traditional SEO stuff will work for AI also. One thing I will say is specialties and niches are more and more important. When people are talking to AIs to pick a realtor, they're not just going to say, well, like a traditional Google business profile rank, oh, well, this one has lots of reviews and it's the closest one in proximity to where you're searching and sitting right now with your device. So that's top, and that's who you should call, basically, is how it did happen, which was great because it was kind of easy to game. But now you're gonna talk to the thing back and forth a few times, and then it's gonna go out and find one based on what you talked about. It's gonna be more specialized. So Google Business Profile in particular, reviews, what you say, what people say in the reviews, your responses don't matter, but what the people say about you matters a lot. If you want whatever you want AI to know you for, and for you to come up in a search, who's the best probate senior downsizing or military veteran PCS specialist or whatever the case may be, if you want AI to know you for something or put you in the mix for something, you got to be talking about it in the reviews, in your description on the Google Business Profile. Those are probably the two biggest places on the Google Business Profile. Website for sure. case studies related to those things, reviews related to those things, pages and service pages and text related to those things. If there's any certifications, awards, anything you can cram on your website about those things and be more specialized on your website, the better off you'll be. So AI, I would say the main thing there would probably be leaning in to niches even more and making sure you're mentioning and making it dummy proof for AIs to know all the things about you that you want them to know about you. Most of which is reviews and website and your socials and all that stuff. But they love looking at a website when you ask about somebody or ask for a business or whatever. And then reviews on other places, like I've said too. Yeah, it's good info for everybody. Go for it.
Very good info. Chrissy, actually, she's on stage now too. Also asked. Mentioned that she's changed brokerages and address, and she filled out the verification video, and now it says it could take up to 30 days. She did it a week ago, and do you know how frequently it takes that long?
It's going to take all 30 days.
Yeah.
Bad answer, dude. Bad answer.
My personal one, which I did, I don't know, a couple of months ago, I moved it to my physical office, took literally the 30th day, everything took effect. So the way it happens now is stupid. You do the verification video, and then whether it was successful or not, it kind of says, congratulations, you're verified. You're like, sweet, but you're not actually verified. If you go to your profile and click the edit profile tab, a bunch of the changes or the updates, whatever triggered the re-verification and any other tweaks you made before you did the verification will still be sitting there showing as pending. And then it will say, like she said, that changes could take up to 30 days. So with Google, you have no idea. It could be right now. It could be all 30 days. I usually assume it's just going to take as long, like every bit of the time that they said, and I'll just be pleasantly surprised if it doesn't. And then I usually, when do I put a help ticket in? When do I start checking about it? I usually give another week or two of a grace period, because I have seen it also, like, you're to the point like, all right, Jesus. And then it's like, oh, it happened. Thank God. So I usually, if it's 30 days, I'll wait 37 or 44 days or something like that. Give them a little grace period so that when you put it in, I'm definitely not going to put it in on the 30th day, because they're going to say, their system will automatically say, well, today's the 30th day, rejected, ticket resolved, pound sand. And then 31 days, you do it again. And even then, it might say, well, it hasn't really been, we're not really that late. I don't know how their thing works, but give it a little grace period. But yes, you have no idea, but could take 30 days. And most people I see, it does take at least weeks.
Thank you on that. Side note to that question is there a value or a point in time in which you just decide, I'll just start a new one? I mean, I guess I do have reviews, so that would be my big no. Reviews, if it's a different brokerage, it's going to be different blog.
You definitely don't want to start a new one if at all possible, and especially if you're still only in the review verification and you're not suspended. You're not down a rabbit hole that bad. You just need to do it properly when you do it. Yeah, I get asked my success rate for suspensions and verifications, and I don't formally track it, but I don't think I've ever not been successful. There have been some that were like, oh my God, it's like months and months. And then it's like, holy shit, it worked. And you just like out of nowhere. But I don't think I've ever been completely unsuccessful, other than people giving up. Sometimes I have the call and we go through all the stuff that's required and they just don't ever do it. So in that case, obviously I can't control that. But if you do it right, you should be able to be successful with a verification or a suspension. And on my Instagram, if anybody needs it, somewhere on there is a verification video. Actually, there's two examples. There's one of me doing mine a couple months ago for my real estate one at my office. You can watch the actual video that I did, screen share as I did it. And then I did one for a client, and that example is also on my Instagram. Any other questions on verifications or suspensions? Sweet. All right. Notebook custom instructions. Everybody's always talking about Notebook LM. And in the last room, we were talking about, and I think I brought it up and then didn't know where it was because I don't use it. My prompting system is a little bit different. But everybody was looking for in the Notebook LM, you can give it kind of context about you or about the situation or about your writing persona, which would probably be the number one use of it, maybe, so that when you ask it to write a blog post, because it's very easy to write the blog post in here. You do the research and then you write it right in here. So it could be talking about your persona or whatever you want to tell it. You can put custom instructions in there. We couldn't find it in the last room, and I couldn't find it either to save my life, but I did finally find it. So where you would go, first of all, you have to go into a notebook, and it's only going to apply to that notebook. So for those of you that don't know, the Notebook LM, it's only going to reference or be grounded in or know or care anything about the sources that you have in there, which could be documents or YouTube videos or web pages or whatever. So each one is completely independent. So you would have to put the instructions in there. Obviously, you could have copy and paste instructions if it's the same for each one. And where you find it, since we couldn't find it, was first you go into the notebook, and then in the chat window, which is that thing in the middle where you can chat with it, is a toggle switch, configure chat, and then the top choice is define your conversational goal, style, or role. And you could also say in this kind of thing, act as a SEO expert or that kind of thing, or whatever you want to tell it. I kind of like it if I'm writing a news article or a blog article, I want to write it like it's me as a person. So I like telling it things like, especially if I'm writing about Carlisle, like I'm a Carlisle volunteer firefighter, I'm a Carlisle business owner, I'm a homeowner in Carlisle, blah, blah, blah. Telling it all that kind of stuff so it can kind of reference that and keep that in mind as it's writing. As well as other things about me, maybe how old I am, how many kids I have, and it knows I'm a father, blah, blah, blah. Or role. But to get to the custom instructions, you have to click custom. So you're clicking the toggle switch under chat to configure chat, and then you are clicking custom on the top thing, and then it'll give you a window where you can type whatever you want. Again, hopefully at some point you are copying and pasting. And at some point, I always feel like these automations are taking me more time than it would take me to do it myself. But it's kind of the hurdle of getting your prompts right, and then it's easier next time, and hopefully the automation, and I'm not always tweaking these things. So a lot of times the first time is like, oh my God, this is a lot to do this. And I'm always creating these prompts and whatnot. But after you have something, it's just little tweaks here and there maybe or whatever. But custom, put your stuff in there. Respond as a PhD student on a PhD student level if you want that kind of stuff. Pretend to be a role-playing game host. Oh, that's kind of cool. So you could even, wow, I didn't think about it in that way. Again, I don't really look at it, but it could affect your audio and video overviews, what output you get. But you can prompt that over in the actual audio and video and type what you want over there too. Somebody have something?
Hey, Derek, I have a question back when you were on instructions. Do you make it write your blogs or whatever it's writing for you? Do you make it write it in third person? I don't feel like I heard that once, so that whatever people are finding is searchable because they're not going to search for they're going to search for your name or whatever. Do you write it in third person? And what are your thoughts on that?
Is my third person? Yes. My articles are mainly news, and I just kind of state the news, and I purposely tell it like, don't take sides on issues, just report the news. I just want to like get it out there or whatever. It will say our. I do tell it to use words like we, our, us, that kind of stuff. But like I or like me, not so much. So I guess that would be third person. I also suck at English class. My mother, the editor, would scowl at me right now. But would that be third person? I guess it's third person. Yeah, I would say it's third person. I think either way would be okay. Really, it's with any blog stuff. Is it useful? If you just threw out all the hacks or titling or keyword stuff, the best article is the one that's really like actually good and useful. And if people go to it, they'll actually like it, and it gives useful information, and also first person or quotes or personal insights into things are what makes it different, which is also what the AIs and things are looking for. That's how you get put into the hole of that page doesn't matter, because it's just a summary of all the other pages that we are already ranking and are already out there. It's just regurgitating stuff that somebody just wrote and rewrote in a different way. So some kind of first person, or like a blog that's very personal or first person or something, I don't see anything wrong with it. For AI answers, when people ask AI for answers to specific questions, AI does like short paragraph quotable answers. So structuring your stuff in that way, which would probably not be first person, is good. So you're like, you want to have a summary at the beginning of the blog article that kind of, if you read none of the rest of the article, you could kind of get the answer right there in that summary. And if someone asked the question of whatever the title of that blog article is, that summary would kind of give them an answer kind of right there. Think about an AI overview when you do Google. It always gives you like a paragraph right at the top with the exact answer highlighted in the paragraph that you just asked. And then I can expand it, go read more, go to that actual website or whatever. So to be quotable in short snippets that answer questions is a good thing. And then if you want to take it further, every section of the article maybe is also digestible and understandable without the context of the rest of the article. So like on my Last Week in Carlisle article, if they get to the real estate market section of it, they could read just, that could almost be a standalone article. It's not that long. It's a paragraph or two, every section is. But if you just read just the real estate section, it would make sense on its own. You wouldn't have to know all the other bullets or the rest of the article for it to make sense. So there is a bit of a trend to kind of write that way for AI. But again, sometimes you don't want to think about it too much. Just make sure it's good and useful, and putting your own spin on it or making it different somehow or more useful than other things is always better. So I don't know if I answered that. Was that was that some insight into what you asked?
Yes, thank you very much.
I would just do it however you like it, or however you want to do it. And if it's good, it'll be good. If it sucks, it'll suck. Anybody else have any follow-ups to anything we've been talking about?
Looks like you got another question here in the chat. Can I ask a question about the content creation for AI part of Google, please? Let's see. Who was that? Marge? Oh, they've got their hand raised. Let me see if I can bring you up.
Yeah, happy to answer it. Come up or put it in the chat. I don't think they have any stuff in there. Did they come up? What's up, Marjan? Is that how you say it?
Hi. Thanks a lot for giving me the mic. Appreciate it. Yes, I'm just wondering that if you can give me some top tips in regards to, because these days what I noticed, I mean, before all these AI revelations, we had sponsored people that are paid to be on the top of the Google searches, right at the top. Now, you also now got the AI part, which not always appearing, and that's a little bit confusing. I'm trying to be cost effective, So trying to find the most organic way to come on the top of the searches. This is for a service-based website which provides services on the local level, and the target audience are families with young children. So what I'm trying to say here is that majority of these people, they do search for some answers to the questions that may have in regards to that industry. But what I've noticed over time is that no matter how good you're answering those questions, and you may appear in the AI part of the Google, does not necessarily result into transactions. So they don't really produce any cash. I would love to hear your ideas about how to actually come up on the AI parts, and which result into more of the persuasive way of making the transactions done. Thank you.
Yeah, so trying to basically be the one that's in the AI overview, and it could expand into other AIs and chatbots and everything, but we'll stick with the AI overview right now in the top of traditional search. So a little bit of what I was previously saying about writing in ways that are very quotable and answers a question like in a paragraph. They love quoting that and putting that in AI overviews. So writing your content in kind of ways like that. Also, I have seen an effort for them. Well, so a little background. The way Google operates pisses people that blog and write content off, because we make money or they make money by people going to the website. So in the olden days, you search something, it gives a bunch of websites, and you go to the website and they make money from their content that way. Now, when you ask a question, Google answers it right there. They take the answer from us that we wrote and then give you the answer right there, and then don't send you to the website. Like, I never go. I ask it a question. It tells me right there. I don't go to the website. I have, however, and they know that publishers hate that, and we're always complaining to them about it, and they understand. Doesn't mean they're going to stop doing it, but they do need us. Chat needs us. They all need us until AI starts creating all the new content and being out in the world and generating new content and experiencing things in the real world and everything. They need us to write content because they're pulling everything from the stuff we write. So in an effort to, I believe, kind of give some back to the content writers and the people that are giving those answers, particularly right now, we're talking about the AI overviews, they're putting links to the businesses a little bit more prominently. So one example is they've always put, like, they'll give you the answer, and then there's this little tiny link icon that you can click to go to the source, or maybe to the side there's a panel of tiles that says the sources or the source or whatever. So it kind of give you the opportunity, if you want to go down the rabbit hole, you can, but really you never would. Now I've seen it a little bit more obvious. One example is I was looking for, and this is a page that I would create that is a great one, a good example of how to appear in those pricing pages, some kind of pricing page. The example is I was looking, how much do tattoos typically cost? And I didn't even say here, but my bot knows where I am, and here, Carlisle, blah, blah, blah. And it gave me an AI overview, and I wasn't in Gemini, I was in regular Google search, AI overview, and it gave me an answer. And then it said, and you might try a business like 717 Tattoo. And that was a hyperlink to click on for better information. So it quoted their pricing page, and I'm guessing, I didn't go down the rabbit hole, but I'm guessing they're one of the only ones probably that have a pricing page, because it's all dependent. And that's what we all say, and realtors say the same thing too. I'm not going to have a pricing page because it's dependent. Or a roofer, I can't put a price on there because it depends on too many things. Well, then you say that. You explain how pricing works for the roofing industry. Maybe you have some case studies with actual prices for actual jobs, but you're not saying, and you can put disclaimers, this does not mean yours is going to cost the same, blah, 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 but explaining it, giving case studies, and essentially writing words about the pricing for your industry and having a page called pricing is a good idea. So in that example, they won my business. I haven't done it yet, but probably won and they were highly rated, and I asked around about them, but they got in front of me because I asked the pricing question it was quotable, maybe the only one having a pricing page, period, gave me the answer, and then sent me directly to them. Very obviously, it was a hyperlink, like right in the AI overview, right with the paragraph answer. Anybody else have any questions? Writing good content, but quotable. Quotable would be the one thing for AI overviews in particular, because they like quotable stuff.
Sorry, can I just ask a question? Yeah, that are there if the aim and objective is to appear on the AI part, so from what I understood from what you just said, it's better to have some form of content in form of the blog explaining for example, the pricing structure of your business or any other businesses. That would help. And secondly, are we talking about short blogs, like a kind of 500 words, or you're supposed to be quite extensive? Is there any guideline on that, or is just a kind of play by ear system to see what's going to work out?
Short can work, even a few hundred words. If it answers the question, they can work. Longer ones can also work. Just like with a YouTube video, I usually say it needs to be as long as it needs to be good. You don't want a bunch of fluff in there, but you also don't want to leave stuff out. So I would say it needs to be as long as it needs to be. But there is no hard, fast rule or anything. There are people that write one paragraph, few hundred word blogs that perform great. There are huge sites and lots of news articles, even news sites. If there's a press release for the commercial sale transaction I just had, there is a page on their website that is only that, and that's got some SEO power for local blah 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 commercial real estate or whatever. So as far as length, I don't it doesn't matter. It needs to be as long as it needs to be. And also keep in mind though, like doing things like trying to be in the AI overview or doing any of the things other than just making it good and structuring it the proper way is kind of like gaming and can change, because AI overviews the way they are now, at some point it's going to be all AI mode, or it's going to change, it's going to be different, and then how do we do that one? But really we should just be more concerned about writing actual good content, structuring it properly on the back end with your headings and everything. Also for AI overviews, you want to answer questions, long tail questions. That's not like you're not trying to be in an AI overview for realtor near me. You're trying to be in an AI overview for how much does a realtor cost to sell my house in Carlisle, Pennsylvania? And you would write a page, at least just a pricing page, but I would probably title the actual blog post or the page on your website, how much does it cost to hire a realtor to sell my house in Timbuktu? And then you can talk about, and if you actually have pricing that you could put on there, that's great. That's even better, because then Google will be like, there's even actual numbers, and nobody else puts actual numbers on their real estate site for pricing, just like in roofing, just like the other ones. It has nothing else to quote other than just, big publications or whatever. But if you're a local source that's saying it and you're the only one with it, it would be probably want to quote you. But also, if your site sucks and nobody ever goes to it, and you don't get people to go to your blog post, and you don't promote your stuff, and there's no traffic to them, and when people go to your blog post, they don't linger and they don't click on things and they don't stay there and they bounce quick. If all the signals are terrible to Google or the AIs, then it doesn't matter how perfect you structure it, it still will not get called. You won't rank for websites. You won't rank for AI overviews. You won't be in the mix for AI queries, which just do a Google search. If you ask Claude or Gemini or GPT or whatever, they really just go to Google and search it, and then go to a bunch of websites and come back to you with the information. And they search it a bunch of different ways on the back end, blah, blah, blah. But really, they're just doing a search. So if the performance of it sucks and nobody likes it, then it doesn't matter how well it's structured. So it's a little combination of all of it. Building authority over time. If you just started writing about the real estate market in Carlisle, then it might not trust you. But if you are, just like with YouTube, If you're every week, I'm always writing an article, I'm always submitting it, making sure it's getting indexed properly. I'm doing it every week, the same day, the same time. For a year, everything's structured properly. I'm linking out to other sources, yada, yada. And if I can, especially if I can then get some traffic to it, maybe social posts that get some clicks to it, or it's, it does come up in some search somewhere and then somebody goes to it and they linger a long time. Now it moves it up in the search, somebody else finds it. But consistency and authority on a topic also matters. If you have one article about a thing and nothing else related to that on your site, then you're not an authority on how to pick out a backsplash for your house, for your kitchen. All your content's talking about real estate transactions and the steps in the process, blah, blah, blah. And then you make a blog article or a page about how to choose a backsplash. You're not going to rank for that. You're not an authority in construction or design or whatever. So there's a lot of things for SEO that you have to think about. So I probably just complicated it more, but and it is 10:02. So I guess I'll keep it moving. I guess that's all I had. Notebook custom instructions, a notebook LM. Oh, I just had a win. I do have a few wins here. I figured out how to host AI websites cheaply. So you can vibe code, tell these things to create a website for you. It'll presto make you a website. But then how do you actually access it? Where do you put it? Blah, blah, blah. I kind of figured that out. I'll go into that deeper some other time. And then buyer book to call via my website. That's a website win. What the customer journey was, she searched for realtor, found my Google business profile amongst others, clicked on it, ended up going to my website, and then on my website, booked a call. Never, ever happens, ever. Like anytime I see a preliminary home buying or selling meeting come up in my calendar, I most assuredly, and I know it's going to be some fake spam or some bot that did it. It always is. This one was real. I even looked her up because her name was kind of odd, and I looked her up, figured, yeah, that's an actual person. So I talked to her. It is an actual person paying cash, buying something for her son who lives here. They're in New Jersey, but that was through the website. Again, websites heavily used for vetting, and in that purpose, that's what it was used for. She typed in a realtor. She looked at some of my stuff and went deeper to look at me more, and then liked what she saw, click book, booked the call. And then I also had a client who I built a website for recently. I think we were only live maybe fully everything 2 weeks ago, a couple weeks ago maybe. She's had 2 forms, well, actually 3, but the first one was spam, and which will happen, but she's had 2 form submissions on her website, one of which was a pre-approved buyer. So that is awesome, because these websites are not a new thing to me, but building them for everybody kind of is, and we want it to win, and that's a great sign that things are happening. And my websites are pretty sweet and pretty SEO optimized. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. It's hard to get information from clients because usually she's pretty good. She at least sends me a text that says, I got this thing, you're awesome. So at least I know something, but most people just don't tell me anything and don't ask the client where they found them or how they found them, and then tracking or whatever becomes impossible. But so any kind of proof like that, especially with these websites, is awesome. And then, that buyer that I just got via the website, this is going to be the first buyer that I'm going to start from scratch with a notebook. And I think I'm going to build a gem as well for this buyer. So in the notebook, I'm going to put all the buyer agency documents, all her contact information about the husband and the son that she's buying for, and any bit of details that I want to be in there. I'm going to give them access to the notebook so they can talk to it and get outputs from it and get answers and everything. If they want it, I'm obviously here to, but I'm going to share it with them. I'll put in, once they find it, all the transaction documents will be in there, all the PDFs. They have the ability to access the actual documents and chat with it and get outputs, but not change or do my settings or whatever. So I will report back on that. This will be the first one that I'm creating a bunch of AI gems and notebooks and blah, blah, blah for a specific client from the ground up. I've kind of used it a la carte for different tasks or whatever, or towards the end, I kind of created one, but this will be the first person that I'm doing it start to finish. And whether I'll even use it, I don't even know. Like I might even create this whole thing and like, I didn't even use that. They didn't click on it. And it will tell you, at least on mine with the paid, it'll tell you how many clicks or interactions happened with it. So you could tell if they're using it. So I might even create it and then find they didn't even use that, just like a lot of the other complicated things we do or I do. You think it's awesome. Like, this is awesome. They're going to love it. They're going to think I'm the best. And then they don't even touch it or look at it. So big old time waste. So that's the last thing I have there, I think.
Good
Anybody have any-
morning.
Yeah,
Hey,
what's up?
Derek. Well, it's good morning in Oregon. I am filming a property video today. Is there a way that I can tailor it so I could use it on my Google page or not necessarily? What do you think?
Yeah, you just have to trim it to 30 seconds. So the
Okay.
easy thing would be just get your video and then chop it at 30 seconds. You could be a little bit more meticulous about piecing it together or whatever, whether you need to be, I don't know. He just wants some motion on there with,
Yes, right. I can probably take out all the stuff, like all the super detailed Portland based detail stuff, right?
yeah. It
Just
would
make
be
it
good
30 seconds.
if, like, you could take I would think about, and we're talking about the photos section right now for everybody, putting videos in the photos section, which Google wants, and it does look pretty, and it's right in the person's face when they come there, and it auto plays. So you want to do it. Does have to be less than 30 seconds still. And I would, if you're putting a property video in there, if you could not have the full address or like any of the 3-bed or any, I wouldn't put any logos, nothing, just the video. But I would maybe put the town, because that's the
Yes.
part that's going to resonate. Just sold in Portland or something like that, or just in Portland, or just Portland screen flashes on the screen at the beginning and then fades away, and then it goes into the fancy property video or whatever.
Okay, perfect. Well, actually, now that I'm thinking of it, maybe I'll just film a 30-second, right?
If it's that
Just,
easy, yeah.
yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Drone
Also,
videos, those are
everyone,
very eye-catching.
I'm
What's up?
looking to up my referrals. If anybody needs any referrals, let me know.
In P-Town. They don't call it
I
P-Town.
I gave you one last week, which I thought I had given you one a very long time ago. I can't believe I didn't.
It's always appreciated. Anybody else have anything? Cool. All right. I'll let everybody get to Wednesday. Have a good hump day. Go sell something. Maybe write a blog post or something, or maybe try to automate one thing or complete one AI task this week. And as always, I tell people, don't shoehorn in things that I say you should do or somebody else says you should do. I just look at things in my business that if that could be faster or easier or not have to do it, that would be great. And then I try to figure out a way to automate or make it easier. So hearing ideas from other people obviously is awesome. And I want you to listen to my show and try some of the things, but rabbit holes can take you down a wasted rabbit hole. So try to spend most of your time on things that you're already doing or you already want to incorporate into your business or whatever. So with that, everybody have a good week and peace out.
Thanks, Derek.
Thank you.
Reputation's key will show you how. AI's the future, the time is now. Google for real estate, let's go. Agents and agencies.